Right, in terms of today's event, I mean, for me it's a really exciting day because this is the culmination of 2 years hard work, and we have been through a very sort of rigorous and challenging process to produce what we have today. And the great thing is that not only is it been funded and supported by HMEP, but it's also been supported by UKRLG, which is really fantastic in terms of it becoming a UK-wide document. So for me, it's very much mission accomplished. And I think today you'll hear about the story we've been through, and just to get an appreciation of the consultation we've been through and how it's all come together in terms of the final document. And then it will be over to you, I guess. So today is launching the document, but if it's not taken up and used, then all our investment, all our hard work is wasted. And we're really keen to get feedback on the document and to ensure that you go away, you take it up, you take on board the principles and objectives and the processes that are in that document. So I'm not sure I introduced myself. That's me. I'm Matthew Lugg. I'm here in my capacity as HMEP advocate. I'm very pleased to be seconded to the Department of Transport through my role in Leicestershire, and I've played a major part in a number of the initiatives around HMEP. One thing I always ask the audience, because I'm conscious that some people are aware of HMEP and some aren't, so I'll pose the question again. Is anybody in the room not aware of HMEP? Can you put your hand up? Oh, we're getting there. There's only one this time, or maybe two. You're a bit hesitant. You may be or you may not. Okay, well, that's good, because I can whip through these slides. But it's just a reminder to explain about HMEP. This is a sector-led program, so it's not about people like me or people in the department. It's working cross-sector, both private and public, and recognising that we're in pretty challenging, difficult times. And in that respect, we need to pull together and see how we can make best use of the overall resources we have to manage our highway networks. And I think to date, we've been quite good at what we call the incremental efficiencies, but now the pressure is really on. Those pound note signs are decreasing in terms of the funding pressures we have, and it is really difficult to sort of maintain standards and service. So any help that I think that we can provide will make a real difference to the practitioners, the people like yourselves out there involved in delivering the service. But some of this is quite challenging, so what I said is the incremental things are being done. Some of this will need new ways of working, transformation, and I suppose the issue for me is that there's so much good practice out there and it just doesn't come to the surface. So one of the key things you'll see in anything that I'm involved in producing, that it will be predicated by case study evidence-based guidance, not just about theoretical concepts. So these are the sort of the building blocks of HMEP in terms of what we're trying to achieve, and there are a number of aspects to this in terms of how we're offering that support to the sector, and recognising that we have a real mixed economy. So we have 153 highway authorities, from small unitary councils to very large counties to TfL, and they all have a range of capability and capacity. And we need to think carefully about what we can offer to help the whole sector in that respect. So by the sector, for the sector, looking at, as I said, practical solutions. But the key thing here is, if it doesn't save money, then we won't support it. Everything is going to be predicated around business cases about efficiency. But it's not about efficiency alone. We're looking at trying to sustain and improve service as well, and looking at innovation in this approach. So there are a number of approaches, and I won't have time to go into these in detail. I think the encouraging thing for me is we're beginning to get quite a bit of traction on these products. We've been through a long period of product development, and now we've got those products out there. And I do encourage you to go look at not just the ones we're going to talk about specifically today, but some of the others. And what are the key themes? Well, collaboration is key. When I say about 153 highway authorities, the more that we can get joined up working, whether that's through shared service or collaboration, that provides economy of scale, it shares resources, and it will save money. There's clear evidence around that. Procurement, contracting, I've said it many times before, there's a complete lack of standardisation out there in terms of approaches of procurement, products used. So there's enormous scope in that area to see where we can drive out cost. A lot of this will be predicated around information. So, to understand where one authority is, we need to compare it with others and see what they're doing differently that we can learn from. So the benchmarking performance is another key aspect, and there's some good work around an initiative called CIHT there. But today is all about asset management. And asset management isn't about the cashable efficiency, it's about the overall use of resources. Because if we don't target our investment effectively, then we're not going to make the best use of that investment we have. This really sort of illustrates all the work that's going on around those key areas. And what you can see here is there's an awful lot going on, there's an awful lot now out there. So again, if nothing else from today, please go and have a look at some of these products. And what we are seeing now is some good take-up in terms of these. And the great thing about them for you is they're freely available. So why wouldn't we use these products? Some authorities spend an awful lot of money with consultants developing these when actually they're now available on the shelf. Now you still may need some support, but hopefully not as much as you perhaps needed in the past. So I'll focus now on asset management, and I really just want to provide a bit of context before we hear from Atkins, who have done the work in developing the document, why we sort of decided on the approach in the work that we progressed. And I suppose for me this was a key document, and it's a shame not long after the Audit Commission did this, they got lost in the cull of quangos with the new government. But if you ever wanted a better document to clearly demonstrate the benefits of good asset management, this is it. And this isn't being done by engineers, this has been done by accountants who've looked into case studies around a number of authorities and clearly shows that good asset management makes financial sense. The Potter review was a year ago, and there was so much in there that related to good asset management. And I suppose the frustration for me is that we picked up a lot of areas which we could see for improvement that weren't happening at the moment and could have been by better asset management. So some of the key things in there were moving away from worst first, which is quite challenging, looking at getting right first time and better transparency, but predicated on having better certainty about financing. And one of the pleasing things on the recommendations are that EFT, within a week or two of the production of this, confirmed allocations for the next 2 or 3 years as a consequence. And that's absolutely crucial. If we're going to make good strategic decisions on investment, we've got to have confidence about funding. And I think I'm hoping through the spending review that's coming up, that consideration will be thought through again in terms of not just giving us annual budgets, but looking at 4 or 5 year horizons so we can apply good asset management. And this whole issue about, as I mentioned, right first time, trying to shift the focus away from the reactive into the preventative, and that making better use of our resources, particularly when you look at the cuts in the revenue budget that we're having to absorb. And this isn't just about advocating better use of funding, but also looking at where there is scope to bring in extra money. Also, when we started this project, it was very much an English perspective, but quite early on it was recognised if we were going to replace the current framework guidance, which was adopted by the UK, then we needed to embrace that more on a UK basis. And the view from UKRLG was that they were keen to support that. And it did very much fit in to a similar approach, and there are initiatives in Scotland and Wales similar to HMEP, looking at trying to deliver efficiencies. So the Scottish Maintenance Review has been running in parallel, and I think there's been a lot of good work in Scotland and Wales that we've tried to embrace in this guidance to make it more comprehensive, but benefit from the good work in those devolved governments. Obviously, also we're aware of the SIP for guidance, and this is where there is tangible evidence about efficiency, savings and efficiencies. So I did say better use of resources, but also scope for efficiencies as well. And in Wales, a similar, well, slightly different approach, but doing some good work around better asset management. And maybe this is something that the English government may want to consider, rather than just handing over money to local authorities. Why not ask authorities to demonstrate that they're spending it appropriately, or even bid for money? And that's what's happening in Wales. They're offering central prudential borrowing and releasing it to authorities that can demonstrate good business case and how that money can be applied. So again, some similar but very relevant work in Wales as well. Just really want to promote some of the other products, and this feeds in very nicely to some of the processes around good asset management that you'll be hearing today. And again, Atkins have been involved in the life cycle planning and deterioration model toolkit. URS helped produce the drainage assets. And all these are further free available documents, products to help provide and apply better asset management. And the good news is, certainly in the workshops we've been doing on the deterioration modelling and the feedback we've been getting, we've been hearing that a lot of authorities are going to take on board the use of those products. So for me, that's brilliant, because it justifies the investment, and we're seeing the benefit of making use of these products and better asset management. Finally, just to see how this fits in context, so it's really nice actually, because in 2004 I was instrumental in launching the CSF framework, and it's nice to be here to stand up today and say that I've now also played a part in the updated framework. And we needed to move on. The CSS framework was very basic. It was a catalyst to help promote asset management really for the first time in this country. But there has been a lot of other guidance that has moved on since then, and moving to more best practice as well. So this new document will takes account of all that work, and obviously relates to the codes as well, which will be updated shortly as well, which is another important aspect of making sure that you have the most up-to-date guidance in terms of managing the highway network. So that's really the introduction from me, setting the context. So I'm now very pleased to hand over to Leela and Alan, who I'm sure many of you will know already.